jelly applied to the face. With a question mark and an exclamation point.
The punctuation really sells it.
It really does. I mean, that is the literal title of our source today. It's not just a statement, it feels like a shocked question.
It does this.
We're looking at a video from the YouTube channel Cosmetic Fanatic Sung, and honestly, this isn't just a simple product review. It feels more like a deep dive into hype and skincare psychology.
It's a very dense text, just the title alone. You have the jelly part, which is that immediate sensory hook.
Right.
And you have the sold-out status from Olive Young, which, carries a ton of weight in Korea.
Yeah.
And then there are the actual skin promises.
And hanging over all of it, that little hashtag that changes everything, hashtag product sponsorship.
Exactly.
And when I think jelly, I think food, I think sticky, maybe messy. But here, they're selling it as the fix for two of the biggest skin concerns out there, pores and elasticity. So I think our mission for this deep dive is pretty clear. First, we need to figure out why this specific texture, jelly, is being marketed as the, quote, essential fix.
Right.
Then we have to decode that whole sold-out phenomenon. And finally, we have to talk about the audio.
The audio is the wild card here.
It is such a wild card. We have this one transcript line, a song lyric about a burning heart, which is, it's a choice for a skincare video.
It's a choice.
But let's start with the main event, the jelly. The title is so explicit. Jelly applied to the face. In K-beauty right now, we see so many thick creams, watery toners. Why pivot to jelly?
Well, I think it's a very deliberate move away from that heavy, what we call occlusive feeling.
Okay.
If you think about traditional anti-aging creams, the ones that target elasticity, they tend to be really heavy, right? They use oils and waxes to kind of seal everything in.
Yeah, they can feel greasy.
Exactly. But jelly, that implies a hydrogel network.
So it's a structural difference in the actual formula.
Fundamentally, yes.
Yeah.
A jelly texture is usually this cross-linked polymer network that traps water, a lot of water. And its job is to release it when it touches the skin. It's solving a really specific complaint from users who want that powerful hydration, but they absolutely hate that greasy feeling afterwards.
That makes perfect sense. In Korea, where you're layering so many products, a heavy cream can ruin everything.
It's dead on arrival. If it messes with your makeup or your sunscreen, it's not going to sell.
It's that bouncy factor, too, isn't it?
Yeah.
I've seen some of these products, they have what they call shape memory. You scoop some out, and the surface in the jar just smooths itself over.
Exactly. And that visual of the product healing itself in the jar is a really subtle metaphor for what it claims it'll do for your face.
It suggests a resilience.
It suggests elasticity. The thinking is, if the jelly can bounce back, maybe my skin can too.
Which is a perfect segue to the claims. The title links to really specific Korean terms, mogong for pores and tanreok for elasticity. It literally says, essential viewing if you have pore plus elasticity concerns.
And that pairing is the most critical part of the whole pitch.
Why that pairing specifically?
Well, a lot of consumers still think of pores as just, a hygiene issue, like they're dirty drains you need to unclog.
Right.
But by linking mogong with tanreok, the source is getting at the structural reason pores look bigger.
This is something that gets lost in translation, I think. We're all obsessed with shrinking our pores, but you can't actually change the size of the pore itself, can you?
No, you absolutely cannot. You can't remove a pore or change its biological size. What you can change is how it looks based on the skin structure around it.
Okay, so explain that.
Think of your skin like a piece of fabric, and a pore is a little circular hole in it. If that fabric, your collagen and elastin, is firm and tight, the hole looks small.
But as we get older?
The fabric gets slack, gravity pulls on it, and that small round hole gets stretched downwards into more of a teardrop shape.
That's the dreaded vertical pore.
Precisely. The skin sags, and so the pores look bigger because they're being dragged down with it. So when this video says it's for pore plus elasticity, it's telling you that you can't fix the pore without fixing the sag.
So it's a firming claim that's sort of disguised as a pore shrinking claim.
Exactly. It's a very sophisticated pitch. It's saying, stop scrubbing harder, you need to tighten up.
But this is where my skepticism kicks in. Can a jelly, which is mostly just water and polymers, really penetrate deep enough to affect your collagen, to affect that structural elasticity?
That is the million-dollar question, isn't it? Generally, no. Topical skincare has a really hard time getting down to the dermis where all that collagen actually lives.
So what's it doing then?
What hydrogels can do very effectively is create a temporary tightening effect. As the water from the jelly evaporates on your skin, The polymer network kind of sets into this invisible film,
Oh, wow.
and that film can create a literal physical pull that makes the skin feel taut.
So it's basically Spanx for your face.
In a way, yes, it's a cosmetic effect. It gives you that instant gratification while, maybe some other active ingredients are trying to do the long-term work. But that instant tight feeling is incredibly convincing. It makes you feel like it's working immediately.
And clearly, a lot of people are convinced, because that brings us to the next huge trigger word in this title, Olive Young sold out item.
And in the world of Korean beauty, Olive Young isn't just a store. It's the billboard charts. It's the main battleground.
For anyone who doesn't know, the Olive Young rankings are like the stock market for skincare trends. If a product hits #1 there, it can basically take over the world.
It creates a self-fulfilling prophecy. And that sold-out tag is the ultimate social proof. It signals momentum. It says people are buying this so fast, we literally can't keep it in stock.
But we have to look at this with a critical eye, right? Is it sold out because there was this huge organic rush for it? Or is it sold out because they maybe only stocked 10 of them to begin with?
Drop culture has completely invaded the skincare industry. We see it with sneakers, with fashion, and now with moisturizers.
So it's manufactured scarcity?
Brands are very clever about inventory. Sold out is often a marketing strategy, not some kind of supply chain failure. If you can clear out your stock in a day, you get to earn that badge. You get to put sold out item in your YouTube title.
It turns the product from just another item on a shelf into a treasure. If I see a full shelf of lotion, I think, oh, I can grab that later.
Yeah.
But if I see an empty shelf with a sold out sign, I think, oh no, I messed up. I missed my chance.
It creates anxiety. It triggers what's called the scarcity heuristic. You stop thinking about whether you actually need the product.
And you start thinking about whether you can even get it.
Exactly.
And that anxiety is what drives the click. The title says essential viewing. That's a command. It's not, here's a nice suggestion. It's, if you have these problems, you are failing if you don't watch this.
It qualifies the audience so aggressively. It immediately splits viewers into two camps. People who are fine and people who are worried about their pores. If you're in that second group, the word essential makes you feel like there's some secret you're missing out on.
But, and this is the big, but we have to look at that other tag. The one that sort of clashes with the sold out story, the hashtag product sponsorship.
This is where the media literacy of the audience really gets tested.
So you have these two conflicting ideas. On one hand, everyone loves this and bought it. On the other, I was paid to tell you about this. Does the sponsorship just invalidate the sold out claim?
Not necessarily invalidate, but it definitely contextualizes it. A product can be sponsored and still be a huge bestseller. In fact, a lot of the time, the heavy sponsorship is the reason it's sold out.
How does that work?
If a brand coordinates a massive influencer campaign, pays 50 creators to post their videos on the exact same day, they can absolutely manufacture a sellout event.
So this cosmetic fanatic video, it could just be one piece of a much larger coordinated marketing wave.
It's highly likely. So as a viewer, you have to do this little mental calculation. Is this creator raving about this jelly because it truly fixed their skin, or because their marketing brief told them to highlight the jelly texture and pore benefits?
It is interesting, though, that they put both things right in the title. They're not hiding the sponsorship deep in the description box. It's right up front, next to the hype.
That's transparency, yes, but I also think it's a form of confidence. It's like they're saying, yeah, this is an ad, but look at the results. Look at the empty shelves. It implies the hype is real, that it's gone beyond just the marketing.
That is a very messy signal for a consumer to try and figure out. You want to believe the sold out sign, but you have to filter it through the sponsored lens. And while you're trying to do all that, you're watching this satisfying video of this cool jelly texture.
And that visual appeal often just overrides all of the logical skepticism. You see the bouncy jelly, you imagine that cool feeling, and you want it.
Okay, speaking of how things feel, let's talk about the sensory environment of this video. Because we don't just have the visuals, we have audio. And the transcript, we have caught one very specific lyric playing in the background.
Because my heart is burning, 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 so that's hurting.
It is. It's so intense. We're looking at a jar of, face jelly, and the soundtrack is about a burning, hurting heart.
It creates this fascinating juxtaposition, right? We just talked about how jelly is meant to be cooling, soothing, hydrating. That's the physical feeling.
And the audio's all heat, pain, burning.
Exactly.
Do you think that's intentional, or did the creator just, I don't know, pick a popular song?
In high production beauty content, very little is an accident. Even if it's just a trending song, the choice usually matches the emotional tone they're going for.
So if we read into it, which is what we do here, what's the connection? Is the burning about your skin?
Yeah, that's the most literal interpretation,
Yeah.
and it fits the whole rescue narrative of the product. If you have a damaged skin barrier, if you've overexfoliated, your face could literally feel hot, it burns.
Okay, I see that.
So by using a song about burning and hurting,
Yeah.
the video is basically dramatizing the problem you're trying to solve.
It really amplifies the need. If the music was just some calm, generic track, you'd think, oh, that's a nice moisturizer. But with these lyrics, it suddenly feels like an emergency. My skin is burning for help, and here comes the cool jelly to put out the fire.
It elevates skincare from just hygiene into salvation. It's not just moisturizing. It's about ending your pain.
There's also maybe a metaphorical angle here, one that ties back to the sold-out hype. The lyric is, burning so that's hurting. Could that be the consumer's burning desire for the product?
That's a very poetic read on it. The frustration of seeing the sold out sign, the hurt of missing the drop. We talked about the anxiety this kind of marketing creates. The music could be mirroring that internal feeling of high stakes wanting.
It turns shopping into a romance drama. I want the jelly. I can't have it. My heart is burning.
And the only thing that can soothe that burn is the purchase.
That is remarkably emotionally manipulative for a video about pores.
And that's the genius of the modern beauty industry. They're not selling you lipids and polymers. They are selling you control, and they are selling you relief from your anxieties. The Burning Heart song suggests the stakes are incredibly high.
So if you don't fix your pores, if you don't get this sold-out product, you're just left in this burning state of despair.
And the jelly is the cool compress for your entire life, not just your face.
Wow.
Even though, rationally we know it's just a moisturizer.
So if we zoom out and look at this whole deep dive, we have a product using a novel texture, the jelly, to promise these big structural changes. We have this marketing machine using scarcity, the sold-out tag, to create urgency. And then we have a soundtrack that completely emotionalizes the entire experience.
It is a perfect storm of modern marketing and influence.
So if I'm a listener and I'm standing in Olive Young, or I'm about to click buy now after watching this essential viewing video, what's the reality check?
The reality check is to separate the texture from the efficacy. Jelly feels great. It's cooling, it's hydrating. But you can't expect a topical gel to give you the same results as, say, a surgical facelift for your tan ryok, for your elasticity.
So enjoy the feeling, but manage your expectations.
Exactly. Enjoy the sensory experience for what it is.
And what about that sold out sign?
You should treat it as data, not as a command. It tells you the product is trendy. Tells you the marketing campaign was successful. It does not scientifically prove that it is the best possible product for your specific skin.
And always look for that hashtag sponsorship tag.
Always. It explains why you're suddenly seeing that product everywhere. It explains the velocity.
And finally, the burning heart.
If your skincare routine feels like a burning, hurting drama, you're probably doing too much. Skincare should be boring. It should be consistent. It shouldn't be this roller coaster of sold-out panic and burning rescue missions.
That is such a crucial point. We get so addicted to the hype cycle, the hunt for that next miracle product.
We do. We all want the magic jelly that fixes everything.
So here's the final thought I want to leave you with today. We spent all this time analyzing that lyric, "My heart is burning." And we talked about pores and sagging skin.
Right.
When we rush to buy these sold-out items, when we click on these essential videos, are we actually trying to soothe our skin? Or are we trying to cool down that burning feeling of falling behind the trend? Are we buying the jelly for our pores or for our FOMO?
Are you treating your face, or are you treating the anxiety of just getting older?
Something to think about while you're waiting for that restock notification. Thanks for diving deep with us into the world of face jelly.
Stay skeptical and keep your skin cool.